Patrick Lyons reporting for Main Event Broadcasting, your number one spot to stay up to date on all of the latest sports happenings around the campus of Piedmont College. The latest news coming from Demorest, Georgia. The men's baseball regional tournament being held at the beautiful Loudermilk Field. The games are well underway, and for the next few minutes, we're going to be catching you up on some of the game highlights of the latter part of the tournament. 6 teams travel to Demorest to compete in this double elimination contest. Emory University, Covenant College, Shenandoah University, Bridgewater College, Birmingham Southern University, and Rhodes College from Memphis, Tennessee. A lot of action coming your way in this next couple of minutes. We'll pick up the action from day 3 of the tournament. This is number 4 Bridgewater. Moved one game closer to winning the NCAA Division III South Regional at Piedmont College after sweeping a pair on Friday afternoon. The Eagles took down second seed number 22 ranked Emory University 7-4 behind a 13-hit assault before outlasting top-seeded number 13 Shenandoah, beating them 5-3. That's the game you're seeing here. The win over its fellow ODAC members put Bridgewater in the driver's seat and in the championship game. With being the only unbeaten team in the tournament, any opponent is now forced to beat Bridgewater twice tomorrow for the championship series. Robert Gallett picked up a win against Shenandoah, lasting 7 innings in this game. He surrendered 3 runs on 8 hits and 1 walk, while striking out just 6. Darren Yoder continued to swing a really hot bat, breaking a deadlock game in the third with an RBI triple to right center that scored Bayliski. The early 1-0 advantage actually held up until the 5th for Bridgewater, but there were a few runs scored here and there by both teams. Shenandoah proved that they were not actually finished yet. It was Michael Paul who seemingly brought the game into Shenandoah's favor, belting a 2-out, 2-run home run deep over the right field wall here at Loudermilk to tie the game in the 7th. Gallett allowed actually another double on the next pitch, but finished off the inning unscathed from that point on. Paul's 9th touch-em-all smack of the year was the first in this South Regional. But despite the big blow, the Eagles of Bridgewater College once again reclaimed the lead with back-to-back 2-out run-scoring singles by Derek Walling and Brian Sanderson, effectively giving Gallett his 5th win overall. Tyler Slanovic worked around 2 8-inning singles, while Dylan Villa worked the 9th inning for the Eagles, the second save of the day actually for Villa, and 4th of the year. A double play ground out to short ended the game and sent the Eagles to the regional championship and handed them their 4th win of the season over rivals Shenandoah. Bridgewater beat them twice, actually, to take the ODAC championship a couple of weeks ago before the regional. So we see this regional has a lot more personal touch for these 2 different teams, Shenandoah University and Bridgewater College. A heated battle all season long. Both teams swinging the bat exceptionally well. There was a lot of life from both fan bases, giving Loudermilk a lot of energy as we headed into the final game of day 3 of this regional tournament. Again, this contest was between Bridgewater and Shenandoah. It was not an elimination game yet, but both teams had yet to lose a game, so we'll certainly hear more from the Hornets of Shenandoah coming up later on. Moving on to an elimination game now, our final game of day 3 at the South Regional here. Rhodes College actually struck first in this one right out of the gate, thanks in large part to a costly error by Emory's first baseman, Bill Munson, for the Lynx. Reached on an error when the first baseman failed to hold on to a throw from the second baseman. After swiping second base, Munson came home on Will Gitema's 2-out single to left. The Lynx, behind starter Daniel Morris, struggled to hold on to that lead in the third, though, after they still had a runner thrown out attempting to steal in the first inning and left 2 runners on the corners in the second. Emory University would not be denied. Dylan Eisner set the stage with a leadoff walk and a stolen base. After a sacrifice sent Eisner to third, Brandon Hannon lifted a sac fly to center, bringing in the tying run. Morris was touched again in the 4th as Jordan Selba's base hit to right scored Emory's Brett Lake when the right fielder bobbled the ball. While both teams were plagued by a lot of errors, combination of 6 errors, the defense was actually really good. A lot of big plays made, but obviously both teams struggling with the routiners. Emory coming out with the big 4-3 win. The Eagles scored the go-ahead run in the 8th on a double play grounder after watching a 2-run lead kind of evaporate there a little bit. Lefty starting pitcher Jackson Weig picked up the big win for the Emory Eagles, only allowing 3 runs. So Emory survives. And on to a new day here in Demorest, Georgia. Boy, these Emory Eagles having to bounce back after finishing around 12:15 a.m. Friday night against Rhodes taking the early noon game on Saturday against Shenandoah. This one is an elimination contest for both teams, suffering a loss to this point. Winner goes on to face Bridgewater in the championship. Loser goes home. Boy, if Shenandoah could win this one, that would certainly be a championship to remember with that heated rivalry between Bridgewater and Shenandoah. But Emory says, nah, I think we'll be the ones to make it to the championship and make it one to remember. It was mostly a slippery slope for the Hornets of Shenandoah University. Emory coming out hot. 8 runs off of 8 hits in the first inning. These guys were on fire. But then they didn't score again until the 8th. So that kept Shenandoah in the game. These Hornets did not give up easily, even though they could have after giving up 8 in the first. They fought back, scored a run in the 3rd, scored 2 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, and then 2 in the 8th. But they left the bases loaded, still trailing by a run, and that just wasn't going to cut it against the Eagles. The Eagles would score again in the 8th, making it 12-7. And the Hornets would score again, making it 12-8, and that was going to be your final score. Emory goes on to face Bridgewater in the championship. Emory would strike first in this first one, scoring 1 run in the top of the first inning. Bridgewater, though, would answer in the bottom of the second with a run, but it was trouble for them after that, folks. Emory would go on to score 9 runs combined in the 3rd and the 5th, giving them a 10-2 overall lead going into the 6th inning. Emerald's Daniel Iturre had himself a day, going 3 for 4 with a pair of RBIs and a run scored. Iturre, one of the top hitters so far in this South Regional, the 2014 South Regional. Right now, the senior from Miami, Florida, is hitting .476. He's going 10 for 21 with 5 ribeyes. 2 other Eagles, though, for Emory had multiple RBI days as well. Designated hitter Brett Lake and catcher Jared Welch. Lake was 2 for 3 on the afternoon, while Welch went 2 for 5 to get his runs driven in. For Bridgewater, the number 4 seed had no player post multiple hits on the afternoon, as Brendan Howell, Bayliski, and Ryan Fitzgerald accounted for the RBIs for the Bridgewater Eagles. So not too hot for Bridgewater. They were out-hit as well, 14-8, while making a pair of errors on the evening. Emory was perfect in the field, making no errors. Taking the loss for Bridgewater was Corey Artemitrout, as the Eagle tossed 5 complete, giving up 10 runs off of 12 hits while walking 4. He's now 6-4 on the season. The 10 runs allowed is actually the most for the junior pitcher this season, as he allowed 7 to Randolph Macon back in the 8th game of the year. So we're going to continue on to Sunday, folks. The 2 teams dealing with some bad weather Sunday afternoon. Game time is actually set for 7 p.m. here in Demorest, Georgia. Let's take a look. Championship Sunday certainly couldn't have come at a more inconvenient time here in Demorest, Georgia. Game time pushed all the way back to 7 p.m. Emory Eagles versus the Bridgewater Eagles. It's a battle of the birds here on this rainy afternoon at Loudermilk Field, and certainly a good baseball game it was. The field's crew, concession crew, and media crew all sticking around for a final weekend on campus to help conclude Loudermilk's first and hopefully not final regional tournament. You see some amazing grounds crew working here, getting everything in order for game time. Over 200 in attendance today here at Loudermilk. It's pretty impressive, seeing as Piedmont College isn't even the home to any team that made it to the regional. Obviously, both sets of fans travel very well to support their Eagles, regardless of which side they are on. Now, both teams to this point have suffered 1 loss on the tournament. Emory losing to Bridgewater earlier on in the tournament by a score of 7-4. And Bridgewater losing yesterday to Emory by a score of 11-2. So a loss apiece for both teams. Ironically, the 2 basically swapped losses and still ended up in this championship game on this Sunday evening here. So playoff baseball never fails to thrill at any level you play at. Let's get going. The teams remained scoreless through the first inning, and Bridgewater was first to strike. The Eagles scored 2 runs on 3 hits and a walk in the second. They did leave 1 man on base that inning, and then Emory answered in the bottom half of that inning, but scoring just 1 run on 3 hits and no errors. They left the bases loaded. Both teams seem to be struggling with that throughout the duration of this regional tournament. But, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, if you are a Bridgewater fan, those will be the last 2 runs you will see your Eagles score until 2015. They failed to score the rest of the game, and this is when Emory slowly begins to take control of the ride in the bottom of the 4th. The Emory Eagles took the lead and scored 3 runs on 2 hits. Did leave 2 guys on base, though. Scores now 4-2, heading into the 5th. and it keeps getting worse for Bridgewater from there. They make 2 errors in the bottom of the 5th, give up a run, a couple of hits, and now it's 5-2. And Bridgewater will put up a couple of more hits, but that's about it as far as scoring runs goes. Your final score is going to end up being 5-2. A couple of quick notes and a couple of quick stats for you coming your way right now. The loss goes to Nick Corbin. He's 8-2 overall, only pitched 3 in the 3rd innings today, gave up 5 hits, 4 runs, all 4 were earned, 3 walks, and a couple of Ks. Connor Dillman got the win, 9-1 for Emory. 5 innings pitched, 8 hits, 2 runs, both which were earned, and 5 walks, 8 strikeouts. So what an outing for both. Big congratulations to Nick Corbin getting the loss for Bridgewater and Connor Dillman getting the win for Emory. Both gentlemen pitching a heck of a game, and that's an incredible record regardless whether or not you won or lost your last game. 8-2 and 9-1 are a couple of great records overall. A couple of team stats to wrap it up for Bridgewater. The team 36-14 overall on the year. They had 10 hits this evening, scoring 2 runs again, both of which were earned. Emory 34-11 on the year, scoring 5 runs, all of which were earned. And again, their final record on the year was 34-11. And here's a look at the final moment that every college team dreams about.
Emory baseball team. Come on, one last time in here. Come on. Team what comes after 1, 2, 3. Another one.
Boy, oh boy, something to be proud of. Here are some shots post-game, ladies and gentlemen. A big, big thank you to our workers who stayed after this spring semester to help make this regional happen. Also, a big thank you to Piedmont College for allowing this monumental event. We certainly hope to have many, many more regional tournaments here at Loudermilk Field. We would like to congratulate Emory University on reaching the Division III College World Series, and we wish them the best of luck as they travel to Appleton in the beginning of June, Appleton, Wisconsin. Also, a congratulations to all 6 teams who reached the NCAA South Regional this year. We wish you the best of luck in your upcoming seasons as well. Have a safe summer, everyone.